Welcome to the Loaded Cannon, and what a disappointing day. Before we start even getting into the football, I'll do my usual dedication to victims of the genocidal Israeli regime. And today, the victims are a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old that were shot in the back by just, what else can you refer to them as, just other than just cowards, just bloodthirsty cowards from inside an armored vehicle have shot a 12 and 13-year-old in the back and killed them in the last, well, this weekend, in Jenin in Palestine. I just can't even believe sometimes that the words are coming out of my mouth when I say stuff like this. Can you imagine in your own life, if you know a child that age, this happening and how it would crush your world, and it doesn't even get reported in the media in this country anymore because it's just run of the mill. It's a daily thing, and this is during a ceasefire. Let's not forget that. May they rest in peace. Now moving on, which I hate saying that, but talking about Arsenal now. Oh man, I'm not surprised. I'm really, really not surprised that I'm doing a sort of a video where this is the tone of it after a result like this, because it was inevitable. The tricky thing is, it was not a case of is it going to happen? It's more of a case of when, not if. This was always going to happen. With Arsenal, how toothless we are now with our injuries and our absolute lack of action in the transfer window, which is so unforgivable. This is exactly what we all knew was going to happen in certain games where we knock, and no answer. There's no answer there in terms of how we unlock a defence, how we get through and really break the lines. Today, we had 20 shots, and I think West Ham had 5. So we've had 4 times the number of shots in total, and in terms of shots on target, 2 each. We're taking 10 shots for 1 on target. I mean, that's awful. Absolutely awful. Whilst you look at West Ham, 5 shots, 2 on targets. That's a much more acceptable return. And, we can all kind of enjoy the moment when Mourinho scores 2 against Leicester, and we're sort of, even in that game, Leicester, they got battered today. Brentford went to Leicester and put 4 past them. Even that should have been a bit of a warning sign how much we struggled to break them down. But then, obviously, when you get the goals and it's from Mourinho and we're sort of doing this whole Fellaini tactic, you just enjoy the moment. But the reality is, it was a warning sign, and we all knew we were going to come unstuck eventually. This was never ever going to be a sustainable solution. For this many games remaining in the Premier League season, it's hugely frustrating because look at the timing of it. Liverpool have just gone and dropped points at Aston Villa, and it's just given us hope. It's like the first time we can eat into that lead. Prior to that, they always had the game in hand, and we sort of like went level and never really took advantage of any points that they dropped. And it was just very, very frustrating that, now we look at Liverpool's fixtures and we say Villa away, tomorrow Man City away. And you look at those two and you think, surely they're not going to take 6 points. And that's where we needed to eat into that if we really wanted to put them under any pressure. And instead, look where we are now, man. Not even a draw. We've actually lost. So when you look at Liverpool drawing their last game against Villa, and we haven't even matched that result. Liverpool have actually gone ahead of us. And not only that, the key thing is there's less games to play. So now we are asking them to basically, I think for me it's done. I think today, with that result, especially after being given the opportunity to go and eat into that lead, that is it. That's the league done. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm being too negative there, if you really believe there's still a hope that we can go and win the league. The amount of games that Liverpool are going to have to drop points in now, and Arsenal to win every single game, I just don't believe it can really happen anymore. We have to obviously carry on trying, but I thought that Arsenal at home to West Ham, even given the injury crisis, would be fine. I was really looking at Forest away, Man United away, Chelsea at home, our next 3 games, where I thought to myself, maybe it'll be one of those games where we have to have this sort of reaction to a game where we talk about the fact that we're toothless and we don't have that penetrative ability, with all of our strikers out. But hey, it came sooner than that. Now, in those next 3 games as well, yeah, Do I think we'll get 9 points? Probably not. I think we might struggle in those games, given how we've played against Leicester, given how we've played today as well. It completely takes the pressure off Liverpool in their game away at Man City tomorrow. I'm just absolutely gutted about that. They might not, Man City away, no matter how badly they're playing, is never going to be an easy game. So Liverpool might not win, but we needed to take advantage and we haven't. Really, really disappointed. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was the substitutions, because we're 1-0 down. And after going 1-0 down and before MLS getting the red card, which obviously we'll talk about that as well, the substitutions we've made are Calafiori for MLS and Declan Rice for Zinchenko. Now, tell me, how are those, given that we're 1-0 down at home, how are those substitutions with a positive intent to go and try and win the game? Bearing in mind, we need to go and score 2 goals in the second half to try and win the game. I just don't see it. And then after we get the red card, then maybe I've got a bit more sort of like sympathy for the subs are quite difficult then. But we've taken off Saliba for Ben White and we've taken off Nwaneri. Like, why would you take him off for Sterling? I was all for the Sterling signing. I actually thought he would be a valuable addition to our squad. It's turned out not to be like that. I put my hands up, I got it wrong. You can see why they went for him. Proven Premier League winner, and for me, he's done so well throughout his whole career. Sort of, there's been so many times where it's not by chance. He sneaks in at the back post, scores a tap in, and you think to yourself, "Oh, it's an easy finish." But everything he did before then was expertly timed and performed in order to be in that position. But he has not been able to do it for Arsenal. And I think now you need to look at it and say, taking off Ethan Ranieri, taking off Declan Rice for inferior players and Sterling and Zinchenko. Like, come on, what are you doing? We've got a game to try and win. I just didn't understand those substitutions at all. I found them very, very frustrating. And now let's talk about the MLS red card. Listen, there might have been like controversy after Wolves. And I was there that day. It looked like a red card in the first place, and afterwards when you see it, and yeah, kind of, I felt like, yeah, that one was definitely wrong, and I agreed with the decision to overturn it, and I didn't expect them to overturn it. But on this one, it's a it's not a sort of closed case. This one, Kudus, who ripped us apart, absolutely ripped us apart. Last player to do it was Alexander Isak in the League Cup, and Kudus must have been watching him that day because he's ripped us apart today. But if he had got onto that, I wonder what the XG would have been on that chance. I think any professional footballer expects to score from there. Raya was horribly positioned, and especially for a right footer as well. Not that the ref has taken this into account. The way the natural curl on that ball will go, Raya was nowhere near it. If it was a left footer, it might be a little bit more difficult for them. But, for me, I have to say, like, if that was Arsenal, if that was Arsenal appealing for the decision, and it was, let's say, Martinelli or Saka or someone like that that was through, I'd absolutely be asking for a red card. So I think, you know what, fair enough. They probably got it right. It's a bit frustrating, though, after giving the yellow, that they went to the monitor. I would have thought, like, was it a clear and obvious error that the ref had made? There's still the thing is, like, on one hand, I say any Premier League footballer, when they score that goal from like 40 yards out or whatever, yeah, they might expect to score it, but you're still going to really enjoy that goal. It's still not a given. It still looks pretty spectacular just because of the distances. I was almost hoping the yellow card could suffice. But, on balance, I'd say, like, yeah, I mean, if it's with a red, maybe like 10% of me feels a bit hard done by. But if it was only a yellow, I reckon West Ham fans would be feeling like sort of 50% hard done by. So I think on balance, yeah, it's probably more of a red than it is a yellow. But let me know in the comments below what you think of that, whether you think it was a red or a yellow, and whether you think our title chase is over. Until next time, take care. And Hamza Shiraz, best of luck in your fight tonight. Hope you go and smash it and bring that title home.